Boy X, page 233. There are 3 hours and 46 minutes until shutdown. They went back up the ridge and jogged along the old path where the jungle was thinner. To their right, the sun was rising, evaporating last night's rain and shrouding the forest in mist. As Isabel grew tired, they slowed to a quick walk, and after a while, Ash stopped completely and listened. He closed his eyes and reached out for any further sign of pursuit. The gentle breeze in the canopy whispered with the sound of autumn leaves tumbling on the pavement. Insects creaked and birds chattered. In the undergrowth, creatures foraged. Even the trees hummed as they drew nourishment from the ground. Ash focused beyond all of those things, reaching out as far as he could until he heard a different type of movement, the regular fall of boots on dirt. "They're coming," he said. 4 people, maybe 3, running. The howlers are still in the trees. I can hear them, too. So they picked up their pace and hurried on, trekking for almost an hour before they eventually emerged from the embrace of the forest into the full glare of the sun. They stood, parched and red-faced, looking out at an expanse of thin and rocky dirt, where only the hardiest plants grew in ragged tufts. It stretched ahead of them to a point where it seemed to fall off the end of the world, and teetering on the edge was a large, derelict, 2-story building. "The bay is close now," Isabel said. Ash looked out at the end of the world. "You think the boat's there?" he asked. Isabel shook her head. "It has to be." They jogged across the open ground, knowing that Kane would be close behind, and when they neared the cliff, Ash stopped. From where he was standing, a 500-foot sheer drop fell off to the bay below, where the surf broke on a large beach of shining black sand. But beneath his feet was a potholed road that trailed away to the right, snaking along the edge of the cliff. In the near distance, the cliff height began to drop, and the road sloped down until it reached sea level at the far end of the bay. At the midpoint of the beach, a small wooden jetty extended out from the shore. Moored to the end of it was what they were hoping for, the boat. The beach itself was empty, apart from a shabby, square concrete building with an ancient radio antenna protruding from its roof. Attached to the antenna was a thick wire that ran up to the plateau and connected to the tower of the building to the left, where they were standing. But the majestic 2-story building was a phantom of its former self. The white paint had faded and peeled from the stone, and the red-tiled roof was now a soft garden of emerald and gold moss. The house on the cliff is the boys' favorite place on the island, with its white walls and gold-trimmed windows. It's like a castle in a storybook, overlooking the sea that twinkles in the sunlight. From the tower, he can look out and see the whole world. Being close to it gave a rise of gnawing, sickening feelings in his stomach. "I've been here before," Ash said. "I think this is where Pierce injected me with Type 24. I'd forgotten it, but after what Pierce said, and actually being here..." He stared at the building, trying to recall the distant memories of a small boy. "Come on," Isabel looked at him. "We don't have time." Snatched away from his thoughts, Ash turned and saw Kane and the others as clearly as if they had only been several feet away, their faces contorted with the effort of having pushed so quickly through the jungle. It was also easy to spot the shapes of the howler monkeys in the distant trees. There were hundreds of them now, moving from branch to branch, and when they reached the jungle edge, they came to a halt, forming a thick line that stretched 60 feet in each direction. They settled, like an army on a battlefield, then began to howl. The sound flooded across the rocky plateau like a tidal wave, a mournful call that Ash knew was a warning to him.